Welcome back to Entertainment Review. It's time for our discussion, and like Nanaya said before we went for the quick break, our discussion today is based on comedy business in Ghana, and then we have very interesting personalities in the house, top-notch personalities precisely in the house. Okay, so in the studio to my right, introducing our first guest is Dr. Sasu, who is a medical officer at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, who also doubles as a comedian. Dr. Sasu, you're welcome. Oh, no. Dr. Sasu, no. This was hours earlier, please. Anyways, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, yes, and to my left, to my extreme left, is, okay, so he recently won the Best Comedian of the Year at the Comedy and Poetry Awards.
I'm blushing.
You're blushing, eh? Yes, so you're a comedian and you also double as an optometrist.
Yes, and
Wow.
you are broken-hearted.
You guys, why are you doing this?
No,
It's all right. So how many so far? How many?
Obi, why?
No, every lady needs to go through about 3.
No,
Yeah,
it's one.
this is the
One.
life.
One
It's
is
okay.
one. The one who open
It's
your
one.
eyes.
The one who No.
The minimum is 3.
No,
hey.
It opens your eyes at that
Yes.
age. That
One
one
is
is okay.
okay.
How many have you had?
One.
Ah.
One.
I nearly died.
It's one.
Serious.
Our floor manager Jennifer says
Whoever
never.
says never or that than
Exactly.
Yes, it's coming.
Thank
It's on the
you.
way.
Hers is on the way. So welcome, Obi Amponsah.
Thank you so much for
Yes,
having me.
this is Entertainment Review
Yeah.
on Metro TV. So today's discussion talking about comedy, the comedy business in Ghana. So both of you are not just comedians. You have other things that you're doing, with being comedian as well. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Sasu. First and foremost, how do you see comedy in Ghana? Because here's a situation where earlier today during our meeting, we're discussing it, and then we mentioned, I think Nanaya mentioned, or I think Harriet, mentioned that, years ago when there were big events happening and then comedians were being invited to perform, they were taking comedians from Nigeria to perform.
Yeah.
But then now it's like a lot of Ghanaians are being recognized, when it comes to comedy. How do you see the comedy business currently in Ghana?
Yeah, well, you mentioned it. In the 90s, comedy was huge. It was big because most of the comedians were using the local language. And the local language reaches far deeper than if you stick to the English language. And with the advent of concert party, it was huge. Yeah. And even that, the comedians were not really in control. The concert party comedians were hired. They were attached to the concert groups. So the main event was not really comedy, but it was, even though the umbrella is comedy, but the main event was the theater.
Yeah.
That was it. And the comedians were just attached to it. And they were paid quite good at that time. And then and there was the who is who's. Yeah. And so it made the comedy business quite vibrant and interesting because there was competition and all that. And then when you win, the Airtel at that time was Ariba. And Kisop. They sponsor you and then they take you out and all the outside the country and so it was quite huge. Then the light dimmed on comedy a bit because they couldn't spring out of that. If they had moved from the concert party, that attachment business, and then started something on their own, it would have grown. But when concert party died, the comedy business
died with it.
Yeah, went down. So there was a silence. We didn't have anything like that. And then came Charterhouse, and then it boomed a bit. But they were trying to raise Ghanaian comedians, but it was quite difficult because we didn't have feet, we didn't have ground, the ground to stand on. The people who were supposed to shoulder us for us to stand on them and then rise, they were not around. At that time, the Nigerians were booming, and so they had to fish from Nigeria and then come and support the Ghanaian comedy. So actually, that was a good vibe because it kept comedy running, even though it was not Ghanaian, original Ghanaian comedians, but it kept the comedy business alive. And they paid them huge money.
Yeah. Yes.
And then Ghanaians also tried to do a bit. Then came the Davido scares and then
Romanus.
Romanus and
DKB.
Yeah. So they also held their own. And then they moved a bit. So they tried to set up their own system. And so they started doing shows on their own.
Yeah.
So, because when you do the shows on your own, you run the event and then it grows.
Yeah.
Because then we can say that this is the comedian, this is comedy. So they tried their best, they've been, and it has moved on to the big stars like Obi Amponsah. So business is quite. It's just like when you ask me, I would say it's just like any other business in Ghana.
Yeah.
It depends on how hot you are and how the demand for you is.
Okay.
And so it's quite rewarding if you put in the work.
Yeah.
And it's quite rewarding. But
Okay.
I would say you can feed yourself. When it gets to a time, you may be able to feed your family with
As
it.
well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Obi, within a few years, your name is all over here in Ghana. And I am interested in finding out how the beginning was for you. How did it really start? What really pushed you to say, okay, I want to be a comedian or something? I'm really interested in that because, like Dr. Sasu mentioned, it got to some point that comedy was down to zero. So what was it that really pushed you to make you think or to give you that assurance that, okay, if I'm to go into comedy or I'm to start to make this somewhat like a profession, I could survive or I could thrive in this?
Okay, thank you so much for having me. First of all, I got into comedy because of my dad. My dad is a very funny person. And then I realized he didn't do much with it. He was on the level of waterproof dams, if you know waterproof.
Oh.
Exactly. So but my dad didn't know. My dad knows him. So basically he didn't pursue it as a career. But I from boarding school in Brekum during entertainment time when we are doing maybe variety. That was when slapstick comedy was very vibrant. Slapstick is those who paint the ones that was everything they say there's a drum. So I was doing that back in primary JHS during entertainment time, and then I got to SHS and then I came down a bit because I was pursuing science, and science is tough in SHS, especially in Opokuwari where like they are very brilliant students and you just don't have to compromise. So I eased up a bit, and then in UCC, I think level 600, I decided to, when I went to level 100, we had trips that we would go, and then I'll stand in the car and be telling jokes. So a friend, throughout the trip, and then even when we are coming back. So a friend said, no, this is something I shouldn't just be doing. So I think level 600, I had my first show on campus in UCC. It was called Onselejai. It was a tree comedy. Basically, I'm not going to lie, I copied a lot of the jokes from Basket Mouths, even Chemical.
And literally translated it into
sent them to tree. You should see clips of it. I still have it. I'll release them one day. So that was what initiated. And then people came to watch me. And then after a while, I realized that maybe I should pursue this for real. I saw KSM back in Drobo. I saw KSM on TV. I didn't have the chance to come watch him live. And so I saw that the future was bright in that field. And so regardless of the fact that I was an optometrist, I decided to pursue it as a career. And so I told my dad and he said I could go ahead. I mean, he is already a funny person. So. But the thing is that now I had to get into the people who had started their midst. James Brown, Romanus, David Oskers, they had a show back in the day was Silver Lounge, if you would remember, around Silver Bed in Accra Mall.
Okay.
Yeah, now I think Burger King is there or
Burger
something.
King is
Yeah.
there.
So they used to have a monthly Saturday comedy show there. And so I inboxed James Brown to try a few materials there. But the first time I went to observe how it was going. And then I realized I could do it. So I got into it and then started honing my craft. I think I completed UCC in 2014. So in 2015, I was staying at Insalom. So I'd come to Silver Lounge to try stuff out. It was tough, sincerely, because the first time I was given just 2 minutes. And if you are given 2 minutes to make
2
people
minutes.
laugh, yeah.
It's like 2 hours.
Yeah. And so it happened, yeah.
Were you able to make people laugh?
No.
Within
The
2
first
minutes?
time,
You
Nobody
couldn't?
laughed.
Nobody.
they giggled. Yeah, they laugh with you.
Okay.
They shoot,
Yeah, that's
And it's a thing with Ghanaians. Until they get to know you, they don't really
Yeah.
play with you. You understand? So I did not give up, but I started catching fire when I went for a show in Kumasi, Pure Comedy. It was organized by another comedian in Kumasi, David Agler. And so apparently Charterhouse had sent scouts to their show. Now they were trying to put more Ghanaians on it after, the Romanuses had gone to do it, DKB. So they wanted to put new guys too on it. So they came and then they watched my performance. Then they said they'll get back to me. So I was at work one day and then I received a text. Like they texted me, would you like to be on the 1,000 Laughs? That time was the holy grail of comedy.
I know.
Yeah, 1,000 Laughs, man.
Yeah.
And it still is. It still is. So they asked me, would you like to be part? We are giving you 1,000 cities. I was like, don't even give me money.
Okay.
Exactly. I didn't say that though.
You didn't say that. You said that in your head.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I prepared myself for that. It was on 26th. And then KSM had also seen me on a couple of occasions. So he also billed me to perform on his Efias Rebo show at National Theatre.
Yeah.
So within that Christmas season, I performed at Efias Rebo and then I did Charterhouse's 1,000 Laugh. And then people started saying, hey. And what made me distinctive a bit was because I combined optometry and then the comedy. People were like, hey, Doctor now, Jimmy. You see how they say it in Ghana? It's a Doctor no Jimmy. And so it got into my head. The next year, 2016, August, Charterhouse used to do 2 shows every year. And so August 2016, they billed me. Or was it May? August, yeah. And then I just went there with a proud shoulder and a lot of pride in my head. And then I went to bomb. If a comedian says he bombs, it means...
Nobody laughed.
Oh, no. I don't think so. I went with new material. Actually, as a comedian, when you're going to perform on a big platform like Accra International Conference Center, you need to go with jokes that you've tried and tested. With maybe even a smaller audience, people 15. I didn't go there with new old jokes. I went there with new jokes that I felt, I'm on top of my game. You should vibe with these new jokes. And it didn't work. It didn't work. And that time in the industry, there were pandits after every 1,000 Laugh show. And these pandits will sit on TV and then run your career down like, that's it. Dude, let's try another person. And so I've blown before. And then the flame was doused by that experience. But it was a learning process for me. It was a learning curve. I realized that to fail is a virtue. Yeah. And then if you're able to learn from it and then get your game going and believe in yourself, in the end, you would learn from it and then you wouldn't be scared of any crowd again. And so that's how it happened for me. And then I kept doing it. People actually wrote me off that it wouldn't be for me. But gradually we kept going at it. And then I had international recognitions. Basket Math invited me to perform at Lord of the Rips. Recently, I went to South Africa to perform. I have a couple of bookings around Africa, which I cannot say because Ghana, if you are traveling, you don't say it. Okay.
Yeah, they'll jinx it.
Yeah, you have to be there before. When I was going to South Africa, I didn't tell anybody. Yeah, it was after I got there. That's a Charlie SEO. Right. So basically, we are still doing our thing. Comedy in Ghana has gone through a phase and a growing phase. You'd realize that earlier corporate institutions wouldn't do a show and even include comedians. They felt like, well, I'm better than better. But now it's changed. Earlier, if they booked you for a show, you couldn't ask for certain things. Like if you are being booked for a show in Kumasi, ideally you should ask for a flight.
Yeah.
You couldn't. You are just happy to be put on the show. But now it's different. Now they are seeing us. It's not really there like the Nigerians are benefiting from. Because Nigerians, the skit makers are making money.
Yeah.
Everybody who becomes popular in Nigeria is making money. But in Ghana, you become popular before you
can
make
make
money.
skits,
And yes, and even after you are popular, it takes a while for other corporate brands or individuals to jump aboard your hype train and to help you out. And so if you see a lot of guys are like this guy Ojo,
Yeah.
you know Ojo, right? The Lionel, Professor Lionel. He's very popular, but it hasn't reflected in his
account.
his bank account, which I think is a gradual process you get there. So
Yeah.
that's the state of Ghana. I would say stand-up comedy right now. It's in a growing phase that we are still not nurturing the young ones coming up, and we are also doing our thing to show them that it's a larger picture out there. Trevor Noah is selling out Madison Square Garden, and Trevor is from South Africa. You understand? Burna Boy is from Nigeria. He's selling out stadiums. White people are singing to his songs. This guy had a feature with Shatawale. And so if you realize, we all have that. No, that's not what I mean. What I'm saying is
I
that
haven't said anything.
Obi, yankashi.
And when a woman does, there's a lot.
what I'm saying is that if you are able to, if you believe in yourself, get the right investors to help push your craft and your ideas, and you are pretty much talented, the world is yours to take.
But Obi, I'm glad you mentioned skits making because it looks like Ghanaians are not doing so well at all when it comes to skits making. And even the stand-up comedy, I'm sure it's very difficult. You don't just stand up to write just about anything. Now, I want to find out where you guys are lacking when it comes to skits making. Because when you go to Facebook right now, or even YouTube, or Reels on Instagram, all you see is Nigerians on TikTok, Nigerians. And I see some people, when reading comments, saying that stories, we steal some of stories from the Nigerians. The camera doesn't look good and all that. Like the production itself is not that quality. Where are we lacking when it comes to skits making?
I think, so you'd realize that a lot of the guys do everything on their own. Sincerely, everything on their own. And to rent a camera now, if you want to get a quality production, you'd have to rent the camera, you'd have to get a crew, clothing, and it takes a lot. You know the economy we are in. So basically, these guys are trying, especially, but there are very good guys out there who, amidst all this, are doing very well. Like SDK.
Yeah.
SDK is on top of his game. SDK, pastor with dreadlocks. Jeffrey Notte. If you see Jeffrey's camera quality, you know he's investing in himself.
Yeah.
So that is what is lacking. Investment is the problem, and also content. The agency to put out content sometimes outweighs quality. You understand? Putting out quantity sometimes outweighs the quality. And so Ghanaians sometimes get sad or depressed when they watch some of the skits. Like, yo, where is this heading? You understand? So to me, before you put out these skits, it has to make sense. People who are watching it, you don't take them for granted that because they are your followers, you just feed them with anything. You understand? So it's a growing process for them as well. Sydney Tucker now has a record label. You understand? And that's because people believed in him. And the truth is that no idea is new. And so when people say that, because a lot of these Nigerian skits are copied from Indian concepts. Yes, you understand. So once you're able to pick it and make it yours and nice, like Kwame Eugene doing songs, then you know that that's true. Kwame Eugene picks songs and makes them nicer.
Obi.
You don't agree?
Oh, I agree, but you people you recycle jokes. But
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that there's nothing new.
There's nothing new, but
The truth is
There's
that
a way you should go about it.
let,
When
me,
you're
let, me- let me
copying
tell you
somebody,
about jokes, especially in Accra here.
Yes.
If like I organize a show and I invite the 4 of you to come sit there, and you enjoy my first show. The next show you'd like to come.
Yeah.
You understand? And so if I'm
Definitely.
supposed to organize a show every month, you guys will still be my audience.
Yeah.
Now coming up with jokes is not easy.
Yeah.
I know.
You understand? So maybe, and then the thing about jokes is the moment you hear it, the next time when you hear it again, the surprise factor doesn't hit you again. The point's like, okay, I know where this is headed.
Yeah.
So you may not laugh as much as you heard it the first, as much as you laughed when you heard it the first time. And so at a point, it becomes a bit repetitive. We keep saying it, and then you are like, okay, stop telling me this joke. Tell me another one.
Yeah.
So ideally, if a comedian comes up with a joke, he should be able to tour Ghana.
Yeah.
You understand? The 16 regions with his jokes. By the time he would come back, you, the 4 people in Accra, would have new content from him.
Okay, I get your point, but I beg to differ a little. But before
Differ.
I'll come to the differ part. I want to understand. You see, over the years, we talk about investments, trying to get sponsorship. Now, let's go to, it's a business, and business people are involved.
Yeah.
Over your years of experience, I want to know how generally are Ghanaians jovial? How do Ghanaians respond to humor? Do they understand the essence of humor? Because you mentioned Trevor Noah, Basket Mouth, aka like the rest. They have a saturated market that understand humor. They understand this whole jovial concept.
Yeah.
In Ghana, do we have that? Are we humorous? Are we jovial?
The ordinary Nigerian is funny.
Exactly.
Oh, but the
Are
ordinary
we-
Ghanaian, the ordinary fancy man is funny. You understand? I get your.
But you
I
said
really like
fancy
your.
man. Let's put them together. Generally, are they jovial? Do they understand the humor?
Okay, so when you say jovial, then it comes to the comedian side. But when it comes to understanding humor, then it's for the audience.
For the audience.
Yeah. So understanding humor is a process, like
Okay.
because it started from the slapstick side.
Yeah.
Now transitioning from that side to coming to watch somebody speaking English in a joke is been a difficult process for Ghanaians.
Yeah.
But God being so good, there are a lot of people now who don't just limit themselves to Ghana.
Okay.
And so they watch, there are people who watch Dave Chappelle.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
exactly.
Every time I'm watching
Exactly.
Trevor.
So you are now our target audience. You understand?
Yes.
You, those people
Yeah.
who listen to podcasts, who
Yes.
are like, open-minded.
Yeah.
So you are the target of, and you are the ones that would convince others that
To also come.
Exactly.
So now let's come to the typical Ghanaian humor. What do Ghanaians like? What do they want to listen?
Ghanaians have a very good sense of humor.
they do.
But that brings me, one problem with us is the language.
Okay.
That's why I agree. I want, let me correct this, that Ghanaian, the TikTokers, the skit makers, they are
killing it.
Plenty of them. There are
lots
lots,
of them.
and they are killing it.
Yeah.
But you may not get to see them because most of them, majority of them are speaking the local language.
Yeah.
And they don't cross over
Yeah.
to the Nigerians. See, the Nigerians, their economy is such that when you speak, even the market woman speaks English.
Yeah.
The pidgin English,
Yeah.
the broken, they understand it. So when you have a show, you can be sure that you cut across, the audience will cut across all the sections of the society. So your jokes, you can write jokes about almost everything. And everybody, you have people understand it. But here, like he
Language
said,
is a
the
barrier.
language is a barrier. So
Yeah.
the audience is recycled. So if you have a show today, it's the same people that will come tomorrow, the next month. It's the same group of audience. But the account guy cannot come and may not be able to perform to my audience.
Yeah.
And me, I may not also be able to appeal to their audience. And so that's where the problem is. And it's not
And
that
you
the
cannot
Ghanaians...
just start speaking Tree on stage because
Yeah.
usually you have Indians maybe in the audience, there are
Yeah,
white
exactly.
people in the
Yes.
audience. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
If Tree, finish.
No,
don't worry.
and so that's one huge... It's not like the Ghanaian does not...
The humor is there.
The humor is there.
there.
Sometimes it's very difficult to translate an English joke into chi. Sometimes the humor gets missing when you try to translate
chi to English.
From chi to English. So that's where the problem is. It's not like,
don't you also believe that one other thing that is also contributing to Ghanaians not seeming humorous is the fact that it looks like a lot of Ghanaians, we respect ourselves so much that we hate to hear something that is quite personalized. You're trying to tell a joke and then you're trying to tell it to personalize or to talk about somebody in particular. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
I feel
we are too serious.
No,
when it comes to politics and all.
If you're Ghanaian and you actually take that personally, I feel that you don't really understand the joke.
Comedy.
Yeah.
You don't understand comedy.
And I think that's
We are
the problem
uptight.
for a lot
Yes.
of Ghanaians. That's why, because you listen to Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle will call out somebody in
Yes.
the crowd and then make a joke
Yeah.
about the person, and everybody, even the individual, will laugh.
True. And that
That's
is what's happened to
But
Try
us.
this in
the
Ghana
Ghanaian-
here.
That's why I'm
Ghanaians
saying
don't
that
do that.
Yeah.
it takes the comedian to know his audience.
Yeah.
That is comedy. Once you're able to know your audience and then see what kind of jokes would be relatable to them, then you can tell those jokes. Like when I went to perform in South Africa, at the immigration woman looked at me and said, "I don't look like I'll go back." That's why she said, like, you don't look like
you go
go
back.
back. And I'm like, what do you mean by
You go back.
how do
You
people
were thinking that you're going to go back or
how do
something.
people look like they'll go back? But in my head, I was like, yeah, I'm not going back. So you see, and I told them this on my first time on stage. I told them this and they laughed.
Yeah.
So once you're
They're able to relate to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're able to find relatable stuff with your audience, it's good. Now, our audience too, that's what I'm happy about. The next generation are going to love comedy in Ghana because our audience are getting very exposed.
Yes.
Like, now people don't just believe anything they see.
Yeah.
People question. And even if you go and lift a joke from maybe Trevor Noah set, somebody will call you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we've seen this before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's true.
And so it's affecting our originality. We are
Yes.
being original. Everything, every comedian, like most of the comedians in Ghana that you see stand on stage and tell jokes are telling personal jokes. Once that they
Yeah.
have,
They have
you understand?
Experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are getting there. Now we have even started a comedy club. The idea wasn't something you could think of in Ghana, that every Thursday evening people will come out to watch us perform to them. But you guys didn't know about it, right?
It was news to me when I heard.
Yeah.
No, okay. I saw the South Africans doing it, and I felt it would be weird for our environment.
Very
Because-
weird.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
but that's it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. When you challenge a system and then you are successful at getting maybe 5 people to come watch you, it's
It's
a
enough.
step in
It's
the
a
right
step,
direction.
yeah.
yeah.
And these 5 people will recommend others as well.
And I commend you for that.
Yeah, and so
this-
and now we have 2.
Yeah,
There's a
2
comedy
comedy.
club at Tessano, 2927, every Thursday,
And Augustine Dennis.
7. And then there's one at Accra Comedy Club, Virtual Hub Studios, around the East Legon, MTN. Yes, that one too, every 2 weeks, Wednesday, they do a show there. And there's one in Kumasi. And it's all because we started the first
Yeah.
one in Tessano. You
Yeah.
get it? So it's a process. We are not rushing this. But we believe that we have enough potential to match any comedian anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this off the top, like from my chest, that we can if we keep pursuing it.
Yeah.
The truth is that Ghanaians are a bit, like you were saying, when it comes personal, when it's about politicians,
Yeah.
when it's about their church,
Yeah.
when it's
Yeah.
about their tribe.
Yeah.
Like,
Are
yo.
you trying to attack me?
But that's
But
what
it's comedy.
that's
Just
the
accept it as that.
That's comedy. You see, you
Accept
can't,
it as that.
You
I'm
can't
so
watch.
glad to be here. You guys are
You can't be watching the Daily Show with Trevor Noah and say that he wouldn't go personal.
Exactly.
He's always doing Donald Trump, Biden, everybody. Like, even when he was invited to the White House.
Look at what he did.
Exactly.
So these are things that we are trying to
changing,
bring back.
yeah.
And you see,
Like roast, you know roast, right? Roast shows, like they put
Yeah.
maybe Justin Bieber
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Roast
And then
comedy.
we
Yeah.
are going to do that in Ghana.
Like,
It will happen.
Wild Out.
Exactly. What they now?
Ha.
Exactly. What they now? So these
What they
things
now?
make comedy interesting. Right?
Yeah.
It's not back to the. For me, I will tell you that I'm not in competition with any Nigerian. or-
We are not
Yes.
in.
The thing is that the world is a big place. You have a fan in Sri Lanka you don't know. You understand?
True.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm not, no, but for real, all you know,
Yeah.
somebody's watching you. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
when I did one thing that made me happy last year was when I was able to pull over 1,005 people to National Theatre to watch me.
Wow.
And it wasn't anybody else, like it was Ghanaian comedians on it. I put Uncle Fritz Baffo on it, Master Richard, and then the young ones as well. And it was sold out. It was a good show.
People kept talking about
yes,
it.
and this year too is going to happen. You understand? So the future is bright. The comedy industry, we have, and everything is, so like you were saying, we have sponsors. But these are people that have seen us, watched us, and feel like they should put something in. You know, usually you don't go to an investor and say, give me this money, but say, give me this money, I'll return it and maybe add maybe 1,000 cedis.
Yeah.
That gives them more there's impetus to give you to give you that money. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's what happened for me the last time. There's this man, Mr. Razak, that I contacted him. He gave me money to book the place and start the adverts and all that. And by God's grace, it happened. I had his money, sent it back to him. And so anybody who wants to invest in comedy should try to jump aboard. Because you don't need too much.
Yeah.
For us, good sound and light.
Yeah.
No, we don't need the flamboyance of lighting. No, it's just me making you laugh.
And you've seen what I do. I also do
this guy.
the comedy with
Music.
band, a live band music. Doing my comedy is quite expensive. So when I need a lot of funds, and trust me, there are people from the first one to I've done about 3.
Yeah.
And I've seen the sponsorship grow. And even we do it for a cause. But after the comedy, we send a portion of the proceeds to Accra Psychiatric Hospital to help the vagrants. Vagrants are patients who don't have relatives. You know, they dump them there. And so we get some of the money and we use it to support them. And so comedy is growing, and there's a lot of positive vibes that comedy does. And if the country can understand what comedy does to people and how we challenge issues and talk, that comedy really.
How can you convince us to love what you do, to accept it? That's like, some of us, like those of us here, okay, because we are open to Trevor Noah, the international ones. When you are going on that level, it would be easy for us to relate and laugh.
Have you seen Obi?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So Obi he's a sitting convincing.
Yeah. Honestly, I just feel at where you guys have gotten to at that point, you don't really need convincing.
Yeah.
Your works are showing us a lot of things.
Yeah.
It is up to us. I mean, when I say us, like the stakeholders, to be open-minded, understand that right now comedy is a business.
Yeah.
It's more like a music, because some have managers, some have event planners, some have bigger auditorium and they are hosting people. So I think you just being open-minded. But me, what I really want people to do is, when you continue to do it, can we boast with our full chest that coming years we could have a full comedy profession in Ghana that are taught in schools, part of the curriculum, as per tertiary, per senior high school, so that you make money. Because Obi, you can testify to it.
I'm not making money. I need money. My comedy special was popular but broke. Last year.
No, even if but it has improved.
I get you. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So like make it very lucrative. Like you can make it lucrative for the other generations that are coming. We'll tap into it as a comedy profession. Because people's attitude towards comedy first was like,
but now it's changing.
But now it's changing. So now if you people will do it good, it will be part of the curriculum.
Exactly.
And we can boast with our full chest.
So what we have started doing is that we want to start a couple of tours in the tertiary institutions as well as the senior high schools.
Okay.
So that we target our young fan bases and also show them that this is a good thing to be involved in. Now, school degrees and PhDs, when you put them in comparison with talents get more money, a lot more money.
I agree with you.
Yes, and so if you're able to pursue your passion and talent and make it make very good use of it, in the end, you end up being happy and then getting money from doing what you love.
Yeah.
A lot of people are bankers. They would want to sell rigs, but they haven't pursued it because they feel like the risk.
The markets are saturated.
There's a risk of losing your monthly salary and not
Yes.
expecting anything. That's very tough.
Yeah.
You understand? So if and it's a culture, it's growing.
Yeah.
It's a culture. It wasn't like this before.
Yeah.
Romanus, then David Oscar suffered on Stars of the Future. I saw them. They were. I think Romanus came first, and then Oscar came second. Oscar came first.
came
Romanus was second, and then they were built on 1,000 Laughs to perform together. You understand? Two comedians were performing together, and they had different material, but they were forced to perform together because they were Ghanaians on that platform with other Nigerians. You understand? And they killed it. And gradually, it's gotten to our turn. It's not like I'm saying they're out of the business. They are still there. But they paved the way for us to be part.
Yeah.
And that is what we are enjoying. And we don't seek to just rest on it. Yes, we don't seek to just rest on it. And
I like
so
the attitude.
when you come,
Don't rest on it.
No, we are not resting. I've realized that a lot of Ghanaians are very open-minded.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially
look
our
at
generation.
these cross-dressers, skit makers. Now we are accepting them.
Exactly.
Yes.
We are accepting that.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm so excited for the future. Sincerely, I'm so excited for the future. When you ask me, I live for the drama. So when I see these things happen, LGBT arguments, I'm like,
They're just fighting it, but eventually
write
they will
more
accept
jokes.
it.
Yeah.
Hey,
And that's the drama I'm living for. Like I said in my comedy special the last time that I'm Adventist, okay? And so if they legalize maybe same-sex marriages, like usually our church, when we have a pastor and he comes, he introduces his wife.
I don't know. I've already started laughing. Exactly.
You guys know where the joke is headed, so let's just leave it.
Please continue.
So usually he comes, he says, "Enyame kwana menam, mene sof mame ene bae, Auntie Agatha, sorry, nyenka amen ma." And then she stands up, we all say, "Amen." Now imagine if it was two men, same sex, and then he comes and says, "Enyame man kuti nambae, my name is wife.
My name is Hokeni.
Abeku." And Abeku is a mirror. No. That is not us. So I'm saying, and these are things we make jokes from. You understand? Ghanaians should bear with us.
Yeah.
Ghanaians should bear with us. The truth is that once the jokes are said, that's it.
Yeah.
It ends there. Nobody, unless maybe the joke is an abusive one that encourages rape and all those ones. No.
Yeah.
But there are very funny jokes about politicians that we get. Like I was watching this MPP, their Congress.
Yeah.
And then the DJ was playing Party Ya Bodam, they feel I said, hey.
Which now? Party
Nothing was anyway.
Party in power now.
And I was Party Ya Bodam. Some DJs have some selections.
Yeah.
I mean, this conversation has to continue because there are a lot of things we wish we could talk about. The fact that even though we are trying to promote comedy, there are so many comedians that have saturated the market and are not really comedian. Let's state it. A fact is a fact. The fact about also how you guys organize your shows, and I think we should just have this conversation again. Part 2.
Yeah. I'll be ready to come back. You guys are really good.
I intentionally said it on air. So like, you don't
For real. This is one of the conversations this year that I've really enjoyed. Like, for real, you guys are really open-minded. Like,
The table of life.
It's a table of life.
I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Sasu, you didn't?
No, you guys are
Yeah.
fun.
And interesting comments on Facebook. Everyone is saying very nice, lovely conversation. So we'll have a part 2.
Yeah,
Have a part 2.
And generally, Ghanaians should learn to be open-minded.
Yes.
It's
And I
very
think we should bring a
important.
skit maker as
Yeah.
well. Yes. I really want to find out
Let's have
about the cross-dressers.
Jacqueline, Equia official.
Yeah.
Those Hadia been to, been to is not.
It should be comedian.
Haja been to.
Hey, Obiambo.
Anyway, that's where we end today's conversation. This is the part 1. Part 2 will be next week. So stay tuned for that. My name is Nanaya Tanobwache, and I did this with Harriet Adi and Esiedwa Akomia. Thank you, Obi. Thank you, Michael. We'll be back tomorrow.